This therapy is really about what I'm going to call a contact in relationship. Okay. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to say to people, I understand this is happening to you, and I'm here, and you can do this with me. You can reach out across the contact boundary and take that risk again with the feeling, the relational need, and I will be there. I will attune. This will happen. And I want to be a transformational relationship for you, that you can learn again about the safety of being in contact, and you can do less of the secondary gestalt and learn how to do that primary gestalt so that you can become spontaneous and natural again in relationship with me, so that you can come from your adult ego state and not your parent and child ego states nearly as often. Okay? And also so that you can work through the collection of unexpressed feelings and that bound energy here, and that I will support you in doing now what you couldn't do then, so that you can heal from the pain of having to do this compensating secondary gestalt. Okay? And that's the heart of what we want to gift people. The freedom to be themselves again. Okay? From a heart-centered counseling name, the freedom to come from their heart again, to be their natural self. From an integrative psychotherapy standpoint, to integrate the parent and child with the adult so that this becomes one big adult ego state, to integrate the fragments of the self and to be a natural whole self again. Okay? So let's talk about the theory of methods. There are three main parts, and each part has some subparts. There is inquiry, there is attunement, and there is involvement. And under the inquiry category, there is, God help my spelling, phenomenological. There is transferential. There is coping style. And then there is vulnerability. From an attunement standpoint, there is affective, and I'll go through all this more slowly. Relational needs. Okay. There is rhythm, and there is developmental level. And finally, from an involvement standpoint, there is forgetting the first one at this moment, it'll come to me. Acknowledgement, validation, normalization, and then there is reliability. And I'm going to talk about each one of these now. Okay? And I want to really start with inquiry. I want to start with inquiry. We are looking initially to inquire phenomenologically. what we're hoping for is we're hoping to get people, I want a different color. Use the brown. What we're hoping to do with phenomenological inquiry is we're hoping to get people to get in touch with this. When I inquire phenomenologically, I'm looking for, what are you feeling? What just happened right there? I saw the sadness on your face. I noticed how your face just changed there. What's happening inside? We're trying to invite them to get in touch with this and find the words to reach out here with that. But oftentimes, people are telling this story to us. Okay? And that's where the transferential inquiry comes in. People will often show us through through their body language, through how they sit, through how they respond facially, without words. They'll usually show us how they are relating to us or avoiding relating to us. And so the inquiry is often, what just happened there? I see how tightly you're holding your hands. Well, what's happening? I noticed how far you're sitting from your partner right now. How your body language leaned back. What just happened there? Okay? Looking to see if we can make explicit, okay, some of how they're compensating. And if we can get in touch with the feeling, bringing the feeling behind the compensation out into the relationship with us, where we can meet it with an attuned response. Okay? We're often looking to also understand how people coped. How did you survive what happened to you? Did you withdraw? Right? Did you comply? By and large, you could categorize coping styles into one of three primary categories. Okay? People can withdraw or avoid. Okay? People can comply. Okay? Try to get it right for you, try to read you and be good for you. As one of my clients said, the way in which I sustain relationship is by always being helpful. Or people can rebel, which is different than a natural saying no to, but is a pushing against in reaction to. That's why I rarely wear my winter hat despite it being minus 40 outside. It wasn't in my best interest, however. And we're always hoping to discover what the vulnerability is beneath all this. You know, what I really wanted was to be loved. What I really wanted was for somebody to see me. You know, what I really wanted was for someone to hold me when I cried. Whatever that was, we're always hoping to find out what the feelings are, what the relational need is, and what that longing was beneath all that for life. What were you hoping for? What did you really need that didn't happen? I see how you avoided. And I see how you were scared that Mom wouldn't be there. What did you wish Mama would do? We're always looking to inquire, because in the inquiry, we're bringing them out into us. Okay? In the attunement, we're meeting them where they are. Okay? So we're looking to attune to them affectively, and we talked about what that looked like, right? Attunement to sadness was compassion, and so on. Okay? So if they come out with their feelings, we want to meet them right back here with an attuned response to the feeling. If they come out with one of those 8 relational needs, okay, they want to self-define, no, you got me wrong. Oh, okay, well, then tell me about you. I really want to know you. to attune to the relation being expressed to us. Okay? We also want to attune to rhythm in a couple of different ways. One is that when people become emotive, their cognitive processing slows down. The more emotional we are, the more slowly the cognitive processing happens. So we want to slow down the rhythm of the session to match what they're able to take in. Also, people sometimes come in with a false rhythm. They are stimulating themselves out of relationship. They come in and they talk 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 and they talk. The hour's over and they say, "Gee, doc, I didn't get a lot of help there." And there's some merit in being able to say, how about we just pause for a moment? What happens for you in the pause? Now we're back here to the phenomenological inquiry. What happens to you if I'm quiet? I get really uncomfortable. Oh, how come? Well, I think you're looking at me. I am looking at you. But what about that makes you anxious? Well, I think you need me to say something to make this okay. Oh, how come? And now we're in the transferential inquiry. What happened to you? That if I'm quiet and we're quiet together, you got to fill that space right away. Right? They're telling us probably about how they cope with the absence of relationship by filling that space in a kind of stimulating way. Okay? In the hope of being compliant and being good. Okay? But the real vulnerability is to be seen. Okay? So you can try to switch the rhythm of the session to try to invite the gaps, to see if you want what comes from that. Okay? So that they can start to get in contact with themselves, and you can inquire phenomenologically at that point. And then you also want to be able to attune to developmental level. As people start to move into their adaptive coping styles with you, they can start to look or act or feel younger. As their affect starts to come out sometimes, you can say to them, how old is that feeling? Or even, how old do you feel right now? And start to tune in to how, in an unspoken way, people are actually regressing into an old coping style that's quite young. And then finally, there's involvement. Okay? And involvement is really to stay involved with in this relationship. To always be involved and engaged with our client. They're always telling us their story. That even if they're boring us, they're telling us their story. And probably in part through the countertransfers they're eliciting in us. Okay? That nobody would really want to hear me. That I'm really not that interesting. To keep acknowledging, to keep validating, to keep normalizing their experience. Okay? I acknowledge what happened to you. Okay? Yes, I can attune to what happened to you. And of course you did that. That's how you survived that failure in relationship. And to keep being there with our client in a reliable, dependable, consistent way over and over and over again. I am always going to be here for you and attend to you and attune to you. Okay? Because these are sometimes survival reactions. They don't change quickly. Okay? And it's in the constancy of the care and the constancy of the relationship that people can start to let these go and move safely into these. So that I have a client who came in anxious, depressed, suicidal. And while early on there was some support for helping them self-regulate, there was also in time the constancy of the care that allowed them to get in touch with what they'd repressed, which was not only their feelings, but their memories of childhood sexual abuse, of how terrified they were growing up, of how they spent their childhood hiding in a closet and didn't remember that. And as they bring them into a relationship with me and get the caring response, okay, the story starts, not only is it safe to remember the story because there's somebody to bring it to, you're not all alone in the story, and somebody to care and be in there with you. But you also start to realize that there is, two things happen. There's healing for what happened here, and there's also the awareness that there's something new out here that's worth taking the risk to be a part of. That cures the anxiety and depression long term. Then they don't come back 4 months later and say, gee, doc, I'm depressed again. Okay? And people deserve that, in my opinion. Okay? They deserve that quality of care, and they're welcome to stay as long as they want to. I will keep being here for you, and I will keep supporting you, and I will go as far into this process as you want to go, and bring you as far out of this as you'll allow me to. Okay? Because I think you deserve that level of liberation. So that you, now heart-centered counseling again, can come from your heart without being inhibited. So that you can integrate and be a whole person and come from a whole sense of self. Okay. One thing I'll talk about next time, when we meet on in a couple days, one thing I'll talk more about is how we do some of the healing work as these feelings come back and come out. Okay, and some of the different modalities we can use to support the healing of the repressed feelings, the repressed memories, whatever may be down here, as it comes out and as it becomes remembered with mother, with father, with the person that hurt me, with the person that traumatized me. Okay? And some of the different ways we can use to do that work. We'll talk more about that next time. Okay. All right. We'll call that a day, a Saturday, maybe for you a different day, and we'll stop here. And we'll go.